WV Uncommonplace. This podcast is a variety podcast that houses numerous series to cover mental health, empowerment, podcast framework, and various intimate theories to get to know the hosts. Along with occasional movies reviews and dives in pop culture with our event podcast episodes. The Uncommonplace digs into bringing guests on that stories don't fit the mold and are very different. WV stands for the great state of West Virginia, and every quarter we cover something in West Virginia. Stacey and myself, JR, are your hosts, so please come along for this venture to our uncommon place.
It can be hard to teach your kids about how their emotions can affect their actions and attitudes. Sometimes it is the smallest thing that can make us angry and react in unkind ways. What Should Dragon Do follows Dragon and her two roommates as they navigate the everyday irritations of living together. Dragon responds in anger when things don't always go her way. Through question and answer, kids learn how to choose patience and kindness and how to make better choices. Written by Stephanie Webb with beautiful and colorful illustrations by Kids Art, What Should Dragon Do will make you laugh as you read about Dragon and her adventures with her friends. What Should Dragon Do can be ordered online through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Chapters Indigo, or directly from the publisher at friesenpress.com. It is also available as an audiobook on Audible.
Greetings, dear listeners, and welcome to a thrilling new episode of West Virginia Uncommonplace. I'm JR, your host, and today we're embarking on another journey into the heart of the jungle, this time the captivating tale of the animated masterpiece in the video game phenomenon, Donkey Kong Country. Now, this was one of the first 3D shows, with the exception of Reboot, which I didn't even think about Reboot. Let me write Reboot down. I ain't Reboot. Donkey Kong was one of the first 3D cartoons that I could sit down and stomach and watch, and it had decent animation. The crazy thing, though, is that this show came out at the height of the Donkey Kong Country games being very popular on the Super Nintendo. And sadly, out of everything Nintendo, this was the only successful animated series during my childhood, because the stuff in the 80s came beforehand, but making that sorry ass Super Mario movie and everything else, this was the only animation venture besides Kirby, which Kirby's a different story, but at this time this was the only animated thing that they had that was crazy. So what we're going to do in this episode is we're going to swing into the vines of nostalgia as we traverse the rise, the dazzling success and the unfortunate decline of the Donkey Kong franchise, both on the small screen and in the gaming world. So let's go to Super Nintendo first. The Super Nintendo, I got Donkey Kong Country. It was a 2-player game. It was 3D graphics. Rare made the game. It was one of the hypest things out, because when you play Donkey Kong, that beat of the bongo drum and the extra stuff that goes on with that, that's part of the history for me. Now, people above me in age that are older than 1985 have an appreciation for this because of Donkey Kong, the game that came out on Atari and then built up Nintendo, basically. So, there's a catch to that too, so that catches there. So, in the mid-90s, Donkey Kong Country made the unprecedented leap from video games to the television screen, bringing the lush landscapes of the video game franchise to life in a vibrant, action-packed animated series. Now, one fault of my own, I do not remember what channel this show was on, but this was not on a premier network. That was one other thing that kind of bothered me, was that it was kind of why is this shit not on Fox or something? But the show wasn't on Fox or anything, so that was one thing that separates it from Kirby, and that's the one little dive I wanted to put in there real quick. Kirby was on Fox, so it had promotional muscle. The heart of the show, the beat and rhyme with the rhymes of Congo Bongo Island, where the Kongs faced off against the nefarious and adversary King K. Rool and his mischief-criminal crew. The blend of humor, action, and the magnetic charm of the characters turned the series into an instant favorite among young and old. As the animated series soared to success, the Donkey Kong universe wasn't limited to just TV. A series of video games were developed not only embraced the legacy of the arcade classic, but evolved into breathtaking adventures. From the original Donkey Kong Country that wowed gamers with its revolutionary pre-rendered graphics. So that was that 3D, and its sequels, Diddy Kong's Quest, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. The video games explored the lore and deepened the connection between players and the Kong family. Each installment introduced new game mechanics, characters, challenges, and things, and you played along with Diddy Kong, Donkey Kong, and the ever-expanding cast of characters. But, like everything, a banana goes from ripe to overripe, so the fate of Donkey Kong Country eventually took its turn. As the landscape of gaming industry shifted and the series faced itself as a front runner, because it was a 2D scroller with 3D graphics. So the video game started winding down. That popularity, like when the Nintendo 64 came about, like 1996, the game journey was kind of like, So at that time, the gaming experience we saw from 1994 to 96, we saw a shift in games, more 3D, more polygon, more interest in 3-dimensional and not 2-dimension. So the anime series started going pretty good. The pending Donkey Kong 64, which was a little bit late to the game and stuff like that, kind of made the video games fall into the limelight. And I'll never say that they were never popular again, but those characters became deeply and more entrenched in Mario Kart games than anything else. So the TV show was a great thing, in which the TV show is hard to find. I don't even know where you can get it or obtain a legal copy of it. So with that being said, the anime series may be locked in a vault forever, but Donkey Kong Country as a whole, and just for what we're doing for this anime series, it was very great. The Kongs, if you don't know anything about Donkey Kong, it's a great place to learn about Donkey Kong. So once again, my fellow explorers of the uncommon, as we wrap up this show and we talk about the intertwined tales of the animated series and the captivating video games, definitely make sure you pick those up if you don't have them. Let's remember the legacy of Donkey Kong Country, as it's one that continues to evolve just like the changing jungles of our own lives. I'm JR, signing off from West Virginia Uncommonplace. Hey everybody, this is JR from West Virginia Uncommonplace, and I am here to tell you about Anchor Nebula and their Go Anywhere series of projectors. They are some of the best projectors you can use when you're on the go, going camping, just even around the house. And these models include the Capsule 2, the Capsule 3 laser, and the brand new Mars 3. So definitely take time to go out and grab one of these projectors, and you will be immersed in an experience that you're not going to get anywhere else. Remember, Anchor Nebula is the way to go.
Please follow WV Uncommonplace on Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, TikTok, where we have some great content, Facebook, LinkedIn. Hit up the merch store at oncommonplace.square.site. Join the email list from the website, and rate, subscribe, and give feedback from your favorite podcatcher. And lastly, thanks for listening, and tune into the next episode.